Bishop Sycamore, they're a bit of a mystery in this game. Bishop Sycamore told us they had a number of Division I prospects on their roster. To be frank, a lot of that we could not verify. And
Correct.
They did not show up in our database. They did not show up in the databases of other recruiting services. So it's okay. If that's what you're telling us, fine, that's how we take it in. From what we've seen so far, this is not a fair fight. And there's got to be a point now, Lugs, where you do worry about health and safety. They win it 58-0.
The football world has been abuzz with the shocking news that ESPN televised a game involving a fake high school football team. Bishop Sycamore took on national powerhouse IMG Academy, and the game was expected, or rather assumed, to be a competitive battle between two schools with Division I prospects, because those are the only types of teams allowed to play on ESPN. Right? The team can never lie about the talent level of the roster and get away with it, right? Nobody would create a fake high school in order to field a team of underprivileged kids and 20-somethings posing as high school recruits. Would they? Well, even in 2021, scam artists can apparently still get by, the worldwide leader in sports. So when I first heard about the game, I was surprised that something like that could happen in today's world, where everything, or seemingly everything, can be verified via the internet and countless databases. But apparently ESPN couldn't do that, and they needed an air game, so they went ahead with it. Now, what immediately came to mind for me was a similar set of circumstances a couple years ago in college football, and since this channel is about the history of college football, that's the story I'm going to focus on today. In 2012, the College of Faith started up in West Memphis, Arkansas. The Mighty Warriors were the football team for the small Bible college, and they set out to provide opportunities for underdeveloped athletes as well as a last chance for those wishing to pursue college athletics. College of Faith was a little different than even other small religious institutions. Much like Bishop Sycamore, they claimed to be an online school, meaning there were no physical buildings, no dorms, and they didn't even have their own practice field. Turns out they didn't even have online classes, as the president, founder, and football coach Sherwin Thomas stated he was still trying to get it all set up and cited players' difficulties using an online platform as an excuse. Okay. He said he would give them a paper assignment once a week, and they would have until the end of the week at practice to turn it in, and essentially admitted that if they turned something in, they would get a passing grade. These grades counted towards quote-unquote associate's and bachelor's degrees in ministry. Since Thomas was a street preacher, it was only logical that he was the sole instructor of these classes. No conflict of interest there. Then again, none of it mattered anyway. The Warriors played their first game later that year against the University of Arkansas Monticello, wearing uniforms that read Cats across the chest, short for Wildcats, one of three names they would use, since those were the jerseys from a previously failed school, which actually seemed to kinda try to be a school. Anyways, they lost 78-0, but hey, they've had little time to practice. They changed their name to the Wildcats, presumably to match the jerseys, smart call, and scored their first touchdown, but would still lose 48-6. But hey, that's progress. Not much else is known about that inaugural season, but what we do know is that Thomas took a show on the road, as in he moved operations to North Carolina to try it there. They did win a game that next year, now known as the Saints, because, gotta stick with the religious themed names, against another school that was utilizing the same fake school philosophy. And this is believed to be the only game of any of Sherwin's teams that they ever won. What was the score? No one knows. In an article by the New York Post, it was reported that neither team's coach could recall the score and no records of it exist. But I guess both teams agree that College of Faith won? The Saints played 5 more games in 2013 and lost them all by a combined score of 282-0. So not only is there a chance this team didn't win a single game this year, there's a chance they didn't register even a single field goal. In 2014, they played 6 NCAA schools and lost by a combined 341-0. But that isn't the stat that sticks out from that season. When they played Tusculum College on September 4th, 2014, they were held to negative 124 rushing yards and negative 100 total yards for the entire game, both of which are NCAA records. That's an average of negative 2 yards per play. Needless to say, they lost that game 71-0. There's a theme here. They finished the year 0-6 with a total score of 0-347. The next year it was back to Arkansas for Sherwin, where they You know what? We all know what happened. They went winless and lost by more than 300 points. This man fielded teams that had little to no talent, had no athletic training staff, they had to use the other team's trainers anytime one of their players got injured, and he didn't award a single transferable credit to any of his student/players. It's reported that tuition ranged from $350 to $6,000, and all they got out of it was a little exercise and humiliation. I could tell you how he would hook up with another man in Florida to establish the prestigious University of Faith, who scored a combined 115 points in 16 games over 3 seasons. Progress, whatever. But honestly, I get more angry every minute I spend looking up this fraud. At first, it was a unique story about something we never thought could happen. But if you read more about it, it's really a story about a man who took advantage of others in an effort to make himself money and earn himself glory, all while putting these kids at risk of injury and wasting what little money they had. This circles us back around to Bishop Sycamore, which is pretty much the same story, but with younger kids. At least in their story, they've recently come out and admitted that they were not a real school, and as far as I can see, Sherwin Thomas never did that. What started as me telling one of my favorite kooky college football stories has turned into a stark reminder that it takes a lot of resources, many of which we don't even think about, to even start up a super small-time football program. So let's leave that to eccentric billionaires that want to start schools or something, and not broke street preachers. Nothing personal against broke street preachers. This might be the shortest video I ever post, but again, I just grew more furious the more I researched all of this. I started out thinking it was rather harmless and that it was just a group of people that loved the game and wanted one last shot at making it, but that's not what it was. Whether malicious or ill-planned, this was just a stupid idea all around, and the only way it could ever be slightly okay is if all these fake teams started their own league and only played each other. But even if that happens, for Pete's sake, get some damn trainers and try to take care of your unpaid laborers. To lighten the mood just a bit, I'm going to leave you with a picture that always makes me laugh. So join me next time as we undoubtedly take a look at a topic that will actually be worth covering.